Welcome to APB Design, and today I will be teaching you how to essentially add different types of wrappings and just use patterns and basically use this wrapping decal for the body in general. Alright, so first things first, let me explain what this does. So, when you wrap something around the body, you basically click any part of the body, so I'm going to center it right here on the base, and I want it to essentially like go around the model itself. So when I wrap things like this, you'll notice that it is now cylindrical and it goes around the entire body. And the red is, it determines how much is actually going to be wrapped. So if you notice, it stops right at the arms. So if I adjust that and make it smaller, I can essentially do things like this, where it kind of, you know, it basically bases it on the meshing of the shirt and whatnot. But essentially you want to have this mostly, if you're doing anything in the waist, quite large to ensure that it covers everything properly. And with the basic square, this is something that I noticed, is it has this spacing between it, because it's not a full decal, if that makes sense. So a way to correct that actually is to make just a simple symbol, maximize it like this, and then add your color. So just to show you, full scale. And if I add this right there and I wrap it around again, let's put it down here on the waist, maximize it. You'll notice there's no spacing this time. So that's one way to correct that issue if you're working with something that is a full wrapping. However, we can actually use this to our advantage, is having the spacing like that. And a good way to do that is, an example, a bunch of striping would be a solid way to do that. So let me show you an example of that. So instead of making very large stripes, we will be making several very small stripes. So if we do something like this, take our time going around here. So I'm going to select all these. I'm going to duplicate, make this a little bit quicker. We're going to go all the way down here. And we should end up with a even pattern like that. So if we save this, stripes, okay. Now we're going to go ahead and add that onto our layer here. It should be this one here. Okay, so let's remove the old one here. So if you notice, flat, if we wrap it up here, stretch it a little bit, now we have actual pinstriping, and it actually looks, you know, quite good. I mean, you can change the size of the stripes, and here, let me explain that as well. So let me just make a new one. Actually, it's a little quicker. So the reason why we do small ones for pinstriping like that is it works better when it stretches around the entire model. So consider like things are going to stretch out when you wrap it around a model like that. So essentially, if I do something like this, it's not going to have as many stripes, and it's probably not going to look as good. Let's call this one large stripes. So let me show you and toss it on the model here so you can see what this does. So in comparison, we have these very large stripes. We're going to wrap it, and as you can see, they are quite large. In that matter, you know, it basically takes that entire decal. It starts on one side and it goes all the way around. So, but in general, that is the general like way to apply patterns, or not patterns, wrapping decals. But there are some interesting ways to actually use this. One of them, one of my personal favorites is I actually do enjoy making corsets. So if I want to make a corset, I'll usually maximize it like this, right? And if you notice, I leave this little spacing on the outside here for the bottom layer of clothing to show through. So so if I make this brown, okay, and let's just add a little more detail here for the sake of it. We're going to change this to a dark brown here, and we'll move this up like that. And from the first thing that I showed you in some of these tutorials if you've been following. One of the things you want to do is obviously there is this lovely piece here that we are going to add and make it black like this. I'm going to add that below the other squares, stretch it out a little bit like that, and then we're going to flip it, do the same thing. And let's actually change the color of the bottom layer just for the sake of it so we can see this a little bit better. We want a darker on the tops here. Oh, that's which one was it? This one. So we'll change this real quick, just kind of like that, and we'll change the coloring on this just to be kind of lighter, about right there. Alright, and this is actually a little too big, just adjust that. You want to make sure you have that spacing because I'll show you why in a second. So corset wrap. Okay, so we're going to add this to our design here just to show you exactly what's going on. So wrap it around just like that, and if I just kind of put it about right there, you'll see this spacing now. So we have this spacing in the clothing, and we can use this to our favor because if you actually do look at corsets, show you an example real quick. There is a or I'll probably pop up a thing on there. There's actually a spacing on the back of a corset that what it does is you basically string it across, and the way the string works, I'll show you generally how I make mine really quick. The fastest way I've possibly found to make quick, easy corset, just strings to go across and whatnot. So if I go like this, flip this like that, and let's just make this like a brown. Okay, we're going to adjust the circle. Needs to be above the calligraphy or layer here. I'm going to make another circle here, make it a little larger this time, and then you're basically just going to copy this, flip it, move it so that it's even, and we're going to change the color of this one so it's a little bit darker. So we have some kind of, way to show that it's wrapping like that. We're going to duplicate all those layers there, then we're going to save it, string. So now we have our central threading. We don't have to do too detailed on this because if you can see it's rather small when you actually finalize it, and you basically just copy it down just like this. It's really easy to work with. For some reason it's not copying. There we go. But the reason why we do that is having this spacing on the back here. It's really important because whatever you're wearing under it, whether it be skin or a shirt, so in this instance it'd be a shirt, you can change the color of it and it's not going to interfere with what you're trying to do. So I could have like a light blue if I want, and I can see that light blue showing that this is a layer of clothing that is essentially above the shirt or in front of the shirt. So it's a good way to show just exactly what's going on in your design. So adding things like shadows and whatnot is also very important. But in those regards, we are going to finish here, and I thank you for watching this video here, and hopefully you learned something new today. Thank you very much, and have a good day.